What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. In this video, we're doing a sleeper mock draft here. We're going to be doing a 10-team league. I'm going to be picking from the 4th spot. Let's hop into a screen share, and I will show you guys what we can do with it. And I do want to shout out, too, this was a custom mock draft that was entered in here by Thunderlion8526. So shout out to my man. He asked, can you do a 4th pick PPR league, 10-man league? We're playing on sleeper. And then he said just the default settings are fine. 1 QB, 2 receivers, 2 running backs, a tight end, a flex, kicker, defense, and then the bench, whatever. And he said I can do whatever I want with the 4th pick. So let's have fun with this. And again, if you guys have any mock drafts that you guys want me to try and do, let me know. I just need to know, again, like your how many people are in the league, what spot you want me to do, full PPR, half PPR, things like that. I need to know roster settings. So let me know if you guys have any requests. And yeah, let's get right into it. So I've set it up here. We have the 10 teams in. I just want to show you, make sure we got the correct settings in here. Draft settings. So PPR, 10 teams. I got 2 minutes on the clock. I'll basically just make 2 minutes, to talk about the pick. And then that looks good there. And then the roster settings, 1 QB, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 1 tight end, a flex, kicker, defense, and then I put in 7 bench spots. So here we go, man. This is fun. What I like about the sleeper mocks is like I can just do them really quickly. And I know I'm just drafting against nobody else, but it allows me to do them quickly. So if you guys want to pound out a couple sleeper mocks, I definitely would do so. And then, yeah, let's get it started here. I'm going to hit start draft, and let's have some fun with it. How do I turn off the volume? All right, so Justin Jefferson, first overall pick. CMC, Jamar Chase. That leaves us with Austin Eckler, Travis Kelce, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill. For me, I think this is a pretty simple one. I'm going to go with Austin Eckler. I want to lock in a top-end running back. I suppose if Jamar Chase was there, I would say let's do it. Even CMC, I think you're looking at only these 4 players in a full PPR draft. You're probably not getting Justin Jefferson. You might get Jamar Chase. You might get CMC, but I think for the most part, it looks like Austin Eckler is going to be your best bet. But I'm fine with either way. If you wanted to go CMC and he was there, let's do that. But let's get Austin Eckler into our first overall pick, and we'll get that there, and we'll go to the roster tab there. After I take Eckler, you see Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Stephon Diggs, Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson end the first round. Start of the second round, Jonathan Taylor, A.J. Brown, Devontae Adams, Nick Chubb, Pat Mahomes, quarterback, Derrick Henry, and we're up to pick, and I'm actually pretty excited about this. I want to go – I have a couple minutes here. I want to just go to my full PPR rankings, and this is on my flex tab, so I have all the running backs, receivers, and tight ends here. I'm pretty bullish on – I like CeeDee Lamb, and I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. These guys are both rated as top 10 players in fantasy points for me. So the ability to take an Eckler or CMC at the 4 spot, I mean, look at the board here. CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle. Receivers are there for you round 2, my man. So it looks really good to go running back early in the 4th spot. And if you can't get CMC or Eckler, it's fine. Just do the double receiver start. But it does look like the running backs get eaten up pretty quickly here. So your preference, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, these guys are all great picks. I don't know if we're going to get one of these guys to fall back to us, but I'll tell you what, I'm pretty excited about Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he is going to get 100 catches plus this year. I think he got tackled at the 1 or inside the 5-yard line 7 times last year, so he could have a touchdown spike season. I'm going to take Amon-Ra St. Brown. I do like CeeDee Lamb quite a bit, but I'm going to lock in Amon-Ra St. Brown to be my wide receiver 1, and I feel pretty good about that. After St. Brown, you see CeeDee Lamb, Josh Jacobs, Jalen Waddle, end of round 2. Beginning of round 3 is Tony Pollard, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen. So we missed on QBs. I'm not in a 10-team league. I think my default is I want to be one of the last people to take quarterback. Now we're up to pick again, and receivers stick out here, guys. Garrett Wilson, Olave, Higgins, Devonta Smith. I'm pretty happy with all those guys as my wide receiver 2. Mark Andrews, if you wanted a tight end, sure, but I think I'm going to wait on tight end in this. Breece Hall, I'm not sure what's going on with Dalvin Cook. It sounds like Dalvin Cook's going to go there, so that is a little hesitation for me. I think Breece Hall is going to be brought along slowly. And again, guys coming off of serious knee injuries, I kind of want to be hesitant to click these guys, especially early in the draft like this. So I think the board, I mean, the running backs don't really excite me here. I do like Jahmyr Gibbs quite a bit. Maybe we can get him at 4.7, but I think you got to go receiver, man. If you like Garrett Wilson, I like Garrett Wilson as my wide receiver too. That kind of feels like cheating. Otherwise, I'm pretty into Chris Olave. I think those are the only two guys that I'm looking at here. But I will take Garrett Wilson, and he's questionable because he rolled his ankle in practice. He should be just fine, though. So there we go. Eckler, Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson to start the draft. After I take Garrett Wilson, you've got Ramondre, Olave, Higgins, Devonta Smith. So the receivers were the right spot there. Mark Andrews, and then DK Metcalf finishes the third round. Beginning of the fourth round, you see Brees, Etienne, Najee, Lamar, Kenneth Walker. So a little bit of a run on running backs here, and then Deebo Samuel. And guess what? This sets up pretty nicely here. We could take Joe Burrow if you wanted a QB, but again, I think in a 10-team league, man, I don't think I want to pounce on QB, and I can talk about that in a second. But the running backs, Gibbs, Jones, like these guys are ideal RB2s for me. Receivers, Keenan Allen. I like Calvin Ridley quite a bit. If you wanted to grab Keenan or Calvin Ridley to be your flex, I'm totally cool with that. But for me, man, I kind of want to build a Lions team. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be a rock solid RB2 for you. And between Eckler and Gibbs, like that's a lot of catches in a full PPR league. I think that's where you want to go. And he is the second best player on the board. So I'm going to lock in Jahmyr Gibbs. And boy, oh boy, in a full PPR league, like Eckler, maybe 80 catches this year, 80 to 90. Jahmyr Gibbs, hopefully 60 to 70. It's a lot of PPR points, and you got really high floors, and then we're kind of locking ourselves into that Lions offense. And Garrett Wilson, man, he's going to be a high catch player as well. So let's go ahead and get Jahmyr Gibbs, and we have a well-balanced start here. 2 running backs, 2 receivers. After I take Jahmyr, you see Hawkinson, Mixon, Joe Burrow, end of the 4th. Beginning of the 5th is Keenan, Aaron Jones, Amari Cooper. And guess what? Like, it kind of worked out, man. I get Calvin Ridley to fall to me. I'm pretty excited about Calvin Ridley. I don't know if you've gone on Twitter and seen some of the camp highlights that he's been putting out there in Jacksonville, but dude looks really fast. He looks really fun. You're getting a piece of the offense that I think you want in Jacksonville. Like, I think Jacksonville this year, it's going to be kind of like, it could be kind of like what we saw in Philadelphia last year with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, like 2 alpha wide receivers in Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk. So I like Calvin Ridley here. Otherwise, I mean, if you wanted to pull Jay Fields, if you wanted to pull Justin Herbert, that's not a bad spot to do so. And we could stack Eckler with Herbert and just gobble up all those touchdown points. And basically, whenever Herbert throws a touchdown, we know we're getting the touchdown. But if it's Eckler, it's that double combo. So that does cross my mind here. I don't know if I want to do it, though. There's a small chance Herbert might fall back to us. We do have Mahomes and Jackson on these teams, so I don't think they take a QB2. But the board is telling me to take Calvin Ridley to be our flex, and that looks pretty studly. Eckler, Gibbs, Amon-Ra, Wilson, and Calvin Ridley. I'm feeling pretty good about that start. After I take Ridley, you see D-Hop, J.K. Dobbins, Christian Watson, George Kittle, Justin Fields, DJ Moore, end of round 5. Beginning of round 6 is Kyle Pitts, Terry McLaurin, Miles Sanders, Dameon Pierce, Jerry Jeudy, and Justin Herbert. At this point in the draft, we get to kind of do whatever we want now. We've filled in our starters. We have a quarterback and a tight end left. I really like Dallas Goedert and Darren Waller. It looks like one team here has a tight end, so we're at jeopardy of missing. Basically, for me at tight end this year, I like waiting for Goddard or Darren Waller, and then worst case scenario is Pat Freiermuth. So if you want to pull Goddard here, do it. If you want to pull Darren Waller here, I think I like that too. Let's look at the receivers. You got London, Godwin, Pittman, Ayuk. I really like the receivers here, but I think we can get one on the turn. Like, I'm fine with any, like, one of these guys as our number 4 receiver. Feel like we can get Deontay. Like, there's a lot of receivers here, and I think we have a really good top 3. Running backs, Madison, Swift, Dalvin Cook. I think we can wait on this because there's going to be some guys that I like down here. And this group of running backs I like quite a bit, and we're locked in with Eckler and Gibbs. So I think, to me, it's going to be tight end. Now, whether it's Goddard, who I think is going to be a pretty big sleeper this year. He sounds like he's off to a great start in camp. He's leading the team in receptions and and touchdowns through the first few days of camp. I think he's a really good tight end. Last year, before he got hurt, he was second in yards per game at the tight end position, just behind Travis Kelce. So I do think he's a really safe pick. If you want to take the high risk, high reward, it's Darren Waller. We just don't know if he's going to stay healthy, but I'm going to take Darren Waller because it sounds like he is the absolute star of Giants camp right now. But either way, slotting a tight end there at round 6 feels pretty good. You can get Waller or Goddard for pretty much a pretty good value. Now, Kamara, Madison, London, Ayuk, Godwin, Swift all went. We're back on the clock here. Dallas Goedert did fall back around to us. We could grab a running back here for the depth. We only have 2. I don't know if I need to pull one, but Cam Akers might be the guy here that could be interesting. He's got potential league-winning upside. But I'll tell you what, in a full PPR league, I think receivers, you want to have a good 4 receivers because, injuries happen at that position. Same thing with running back, but I feel pretty good about those Eckler and Gibbs. But with receiver, I want to have someone that I can rotate in with my flex because I think receiver points are going to be a little bit more important at this point of the draft. We got Pittman, Marquise, Mike Williams, Lockett, Christian Kirk. We're probably not going to take Kirk because we already have Calvin Ridley. I don't get why Deontay Johnson's so low on sleeper here. That seems kind of wrong to me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab Mike Williams. We're going to get another piece of that Chargers offense. And basically, I see 5,000 passing yards for Herbert in that offense. I see if Mike Williams is healthy, I want him on my fantasy team. So we'll grab him and put him on the bench. And again, he's going to be that first guy that we call up. If anything happens to one of the other receivers, we'll pull him up or play the matchups, whatever. But we do need some running back depth. So I think we're going to look here. But after I take Mike Williams, you see Dalvin, Connor, Akers, Trevor Lawrence, Michael Pittman Jr., Dak Prescott, end of round 7, beginning of round 8, JSN, Marquise Brown, Christian Kirk. That's great value on Kirk. And this guy lined up Lawrence and Kirk. That's a great stack. Lockett, Rashad White, Dallas Goedert fell all the way to 8.6. Oh, my goodness. Now, it's saying Isaiah Pacheco is the top running back available. Mike Evans, Javonte Williams, Deontay Johnson, David Montgomery, George Pickens. I'm going to take Deontay Johnson to be on the bench. And then I think our receiver core is pretty much locked in. We got St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Calvin Ridley, Mike Williams, and Deontay Johnson. Again, there's still some running backs that I like on the board. But we can grab a number 1 receiver here. And Deontay Johnson's going to be a high target player. Doesn't make sense to me that he's so low on sleeper. So there we go. We got 5 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and Darren Waller. After I take Deontay Johnson, so David Montgomery is like my favorite running back to take in this range. And I know we already took Jahmyr Gibbs, but I totally don't mind having those guys on the same team. Mike Evans, Pacheco, Javonte, Burks, Jahan Dotson. We're back on the clock here. And quarterbacks, you can still get Deshaun, Tua. If you want to grab one of those guys there, I'm fine with it. But I think we're going to wait just a little bit more. We don't need tight end. We don't need receiver. We're pretty good at receiver. So to me, I'm going to take running back James Cook, who is on the thumbnail of this video. I'm pretty much all in on James Cook. I think he's the ideal RB3 on your roster on draft day. And I do believe that he can be a running back 2 for the entire season. The dude's going to step into the passing down role where Devin Singletary saw 50-plus targets. In that role, the last 3 seasons, he had 50-plus targets. So lock that in for James Cook. He's going to be the receiving back for Josh Allen. And it sounds like they're going to give him every chance to be he's going to be the starting running back. They're going to give him every chance to be a 3-down back. They're going to mix in Damian Harris for sure. I don't really care about the goal line touches in Buffalo. I know a lot of people be like, oh, the goal line touches, but we know Josh Allen steals a bunch of those. So I don't think it's as important. Basically, I want to lock in Bills pass catching running back, and he's a home run threat. I think he had the highest big play run rate last season. He's super efficient, high yards per carry. I like James Cook off the bench. Let's sign him up. And at this point, you want to kind of lock yourself into some elite offenses. So we grabbed James Cook from Buffalo. We got the Chargers offense. We got the Jags offense, the Jets, the Lions. We're hitting on some good offenses here. After I take James Cook, you see Pickens, Njoku, Addison, Tony, Dylan, and Brandon Cooks go end of ninth round. Beginning of the 10th is Michael Thomas. Antonio Gibson would have been a nice pick. I love Zay Flowers on my bench. Jonnu, I like Brian Robinson on my bench. Even Rashad Penny on the bench looks pretty nice. But let's go back here. Are we the last team to take a QB? Let me see. How many have been taken? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So every team has a quarterback, which means now we can look at that. And I mean, you got Deshaun Watson and Tua, both still available in a 10-man league. And guess what? Like these guys already have QBs. I don't know if I need to grab one. I mean, I'm totally fine with a duo of Kirk Cousins and Daniel Jones. Like we can stack Darren Waller with our quarterback Daniel Jones. He was a top 10 QB last year. Even Jared Goff, because we have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs. So I think waiting on QB is the move. We don't need a tight end. Those are the best available here. Let's just look at running back. You got Jamal Williams, Zach Charbonnet, P. Ryan. I'm kind of fine with grabbing one of these guys here. Let's just grab Jamal Williams. He's going to be involved in that Saints offense. They signed him to a good deal. Alvin Kamara suspension. If you want to grab the rookie Zach Charbonnet, I'm fine with that too. I do like Samaje Perine as well. I'll tell you what, we're going to switch it up. Let's go ahead and grab. I got this. We're going to grab Deshaun Watson. I'm going to pull the quarterback here. I want Cleveland quarterback. He's got an 89 overall ADP. We're picking in the 10th round here. That's a gift. And you can see there's a separation from Deshaun to Tua. He's got 310 points. The other quarterbacks are under 300. So let's grab Deshaun Watson to be our QB1. And we can still grab a QB2, but I feel really good about Deshaun Watson this season, running the ball and throwing the ball as well. We missed on Elijah Moore, though. That was what I was trying to do. I was trying to get Deshaun and Elijah. Backfired, but that's okay. I wish I could redo it because there's still a lot of good QBs on the board. But let's just reassess the situation. It's saying Jamal Williams is top available. We need an RB4. I think I'm totally fine with that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 spots left on the bench. I'm just going to grab best available running back right here. Again, we have 5 really good wide receivers. Amon-Ra, Wilson, Ridley, Mike Will, Deontay Johnson. Let's add one more receiver. And then we do have 4 running backs. So we're going to have 4 running backs, 5 receivers. I want to grab one more wide receiver here just to be a rotational piece. I'm looking for Sky Moore. That's who I want. I want a shot at the Chiefs starting slot receiver, and he's really low in this ADP here. He's the guy that I want to target late in drafts. He might even move up draft boards from now, but definitely in on Sky Moore. We have 2 more bench spots to fill. If you wanted a backup tight end, we have Waller. I don't know if we need it. I don't know if I want to burn the roster spot because if Waller gets hurt, we're just going to go to the waiver wire. If you want to take a stab at a rookie running back, you could totally do so. I don't even hate grabbing another quarterback here. We have Deshaun Watson. I like Jared Goff a lot. Maybe we see if Jared Goff comes back around to us. If you want a defense, I get it, but I think it's too early to pull defense. So yeah, let's just look at the running backs. Do you want a rookie running back? Yeah, this is tough. We're in a tough spot here because we kind of got everything that we want. We have 4 RBs. We have 6 wideouts. Does it make sense to grab a backup tight end? Do you like Chigo Okonkwo? I think I'm fine with him as a backup tight end. He's going to be used in the Titans offense. Otherwise, do we want to just collect a body here at running back? Whether it's a rookie, Kendre Miller, Tank Bigsby, Raheem Mostert maybe. We can just grab a rookie running back perhaps. Essentially, this is a handcuff stash. At this point, we're probably going to be cutting this player anyways. So I'm just going to grab Elijah Mitchell here, and we'll just see what happens in that 49ers offense. If anything happens to CMC, we know Mitchell's a guy that we're going to start. And we know that when Mitchell's healthy, he's a good player here too. So I think in the 13th and 14th round, that's where I tend to pull, just depth pieces. And if I end up cutting these guys, I really don't care. We did miss on Goff, Daniel Jones, and Russell Wilson at the QB spots. Let me see here. Bryce Young, Kyler Murray, Derek Carr, Jordan Love. At this point, I'm fine with Deshaun Watson being our QB1. We could grab Purdy if we wanted to. But we got 5 running backs. We have, I think, 6 wideouts. Any other wideouts make sense here? We could take another stab at Rashee Rice, the Chiefs receiver. I like Nico Collins. Nico Collins is a sleeper. He's a wide receiver 1 on his own team. That might be the best pick here. Again, I don't know if I need to grab a tight end 2. Like we could easily grab one of these guys off the waiver wire at some point here. If you wanted a QB2, maybe you can take a stab at Kyler Murray and see what happens. But I think I'm just going to go best available in my book in here. That's Nico Collins. I'm just grabbing a wide receiver 1. We have 7 wide receivers, so we're pretty deep there. but we'll see what happens. You guys know injuries and whatnot happens. For defense, I like Philly, but the defense that you want is the New Orleans Saints. And their schedule this year is pretty damn good. They're going to start against Atlanta, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Minnesota, Seattle. Since this is all last year, my bad. Let me type up the Saints schedule. Saints have, to me, the easiest schedule in the league this year. And you can basically start them all year long. Tennessee, Carolina, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, New England, Houston, Jacksonville's tough. Indy might be tough. Chicago, Minnesota. Not a bad first 10-week start to the year. They have their bye week. After their bye week, they come back to Atlanta, Detroit, Carolina, New York, the Rams, Tampa Bay for your fantasy championship. So I'm telling everybody that will listen to take the Saints defense for your defense this year. So we'll click on the Saints here, and then we'll finish up with a kicker. Kicker, I basically just want a team that kicks indoors, a team that's going to score a lot of points. That might be Atlanta. Atlanta could be sneaky, kicking field goals. But otherwise, I mean, the Jags kicker is not a bad option. Let's see, who else did we miss here? I'm kind of into the Lions kicker. Graham Gano's not terrible. Parker Romo. Yeah, this is weird. They don't have like all the kickers in. I'm just gonna take Jake Elliott, Eagles kicker, whatever. But there's our draft. I do kind of regret taking Watson because we could have grabbed the 2 QBs like I mentioned here. We could have maybe got another running back or something up here. But overall, I feel pretty good about what we did. Again, we started with Austin Eckler, PPR running back 1, Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver 1, Garrett Wilson, wide receiver 2, Jahmyr Gibbs, running back 2. So that's a really good start for us. Tons of receptions there. We come back and we put Calvin Ridley in the flex. We get Darren Waller at the starting tight end position. So our starting lineup is pretty much here minus quarterback. I continue to take depth pieces. Mike Williams, Deontay Johnson off the bench. Are you kidding me? James Cook off the bench. Deshaun Watson, our QB1. Jamal Williams off the bench, Sky Moore on the bench, Elijah Mitchell's just a handcuff, in our back pocket. Nico Collins could be exciting, wide receiver 1 potential for the Texans, and then Saints and Jake Elliott were our final picks here. So I don't know. I think we did pretty good. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And again, if you guys have any requests or you want to see a different style of mock draft, let me know. Let me know what league size, what draft pick, what platform, the roster settings, all that stuff. Just leave a comment and I can get to it when I get to it. So yeah, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you guys are new, and have a great rest of your weekend. Peace.